Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to continue this afternoon's program, Big Bang International Conference. Over the course of the next 4 days, we will be learning from distinguished speakers as well as renowned experts in various fields of digital technology, many of whom have flown into Bangkok to speak at Digital Thailand Big Bang 2019. The program is brought to you by DEPA in collaboration with The Next Web. The Next Web is an Amsterdam-based media technology platform that helps people get the most out of technology by bringing them together through extraordinary events and remarkable stories, and you can find out more information about them at tnw.com. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce the next speaker. Idan Zalzberg has 17 years of experience in technology management and development. At Agoda, Idan manages the data group, which is responsible for all of the company's data science, data engineering, big data technologies, messaging pipelines, and machine learning system. Today, he is going to speak about how AI is changing the world of travel. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Vice President of Data at Agoda, Idan Zalzberg. Please.
All right. Hello, everyone. So my name is Idan, as you heard. And today we'll talk a little about how AI is actually going into the world of travel and changing it. So just a few words about Agoda to start. Agoda is one of the biggest OTAs in the world, online travel agency. And it's part of the Booking Holdings Group, which by itself is the largest online travel business in the world. We have more than 5,000 employees from 70 different nationalities, and out of that, around 1,200 are in technology. And by the way, almost all of them are here in Thailand working in our Bangkok office. We have offices in 30 countries around the world. We manage more than 2.5 million properties, and we operate in 40 different languages and more than 50 currencies. Now, you might understand from all of that we are a pretty strong player in the market of travel. But just because we are strong today doesn't mean we can rest assured that we will stay strong forever. We have a lot of competition. We have Google, we have Airbnb, we have Expedia. Everybody wants to take a piece of the market, definitely in Asia, where there is so much growth these days. So we cannot rely just being big and staying big. We need to find a way to find an asset that will provide us the future. And what we identified in the companies already a few years ago, that this asset is our data. And by investing our data back into the product, we can have the best product in the market. And I just want to say that this is not a technological decision. This is a business decision that the management of Agoda has done, and rightfully so, because it's a big investment and it takes time to see the value, but after a few years of doing it, you start to see how you can create things that are otherwise impossible. So I'm going to talk a bit about the ways we use AI, and to make it a bit more clear, I will break it down by what we call the funnel. What is this funnel? It's basically the flow that the customer goes through when they want to travel. So first of all, they have to find us, right? They have to get to our website, they have to get to our app. That's what we call the acquisition step, getting the customer coming to us when they are interested to travel. Secondly, after they get to the application or the website, they are working with it, they're trying to find the property that they want to book, they're trying to find the flight that they want to take. That's kind of like search and book. And then lastly, after they book, we also want to make sure they have a good experience, right? We want to see that we give them the right support. We want to see that we communicate with them as needed. So I'm going to talk now about each one of those, how we can use AI in each one of these steps. So first of all, let's start with the acquisition part, where we're just trying to get the customer in. So how can users even get to Agoda website or application? Basically, they can just, if they have the app, they can just tap the app. That's the best thing for us, because then we don't have to pay for the marketing. But they can also put agoda.com on the browser, also good, doesn't cost anything. But then again, many of them do use search engines. And search engines break down to two categories. You have the general search, like Google, of course, that you all are aware. But also in China, we have Baidu, we have Naver in Korea. So there are more than one option to do that. Secondly, they might use what we call meta search engine or travel focused search, which are companies that do search for travel, but only specifically for travel. Like, for example, Trivago or TripAdvisor, where you go there, you specify the date you want to travel, the location you want to travel, and then they show you your options on top of that. We also want Agoda to be one of those options when people search there. So let's think about the process of the search for a minute. What does it mean? Let's say a person goes to Google and they click Bangkok Hotel Sukhumvit cheap. They might click something like that. That's quite common. We want to make sure that we have the right ad to put to that customer. So first of all, we ask, what is the customer looking for? What is the intent? What they are trying to do? In this case, it's clear that they are looking for a hotel in Bangkok Sukhumvit. Secondly, what is the best information we can put in? In this case, we see the customer is quite price sensitive, so we might want to talk about the way we have no booking fees, free cancellation. These are the kind of things that might appeal to this customer. Lastly, we want to show other links that might be relevant. In this case, they're looking for a hotel in Sukhumvit in Bangkok. We identify that Sukhumvit is an area within Bangkok, but maybe we can link them to searches of Bangkok itself. All right. So think about that. We need to do this for every possible search, okay? Not just Bangkok Hotel Sukhumvit cheap. Every possible search sentence in the world, we want to put the right thing in front of the customer. So that's just one problem. How do we do that? Every day we get millions and millions of travel-related search queries coming to our platform. For example, they could be Hotel Lebua BKK, where Lebua is written in Thai and BKK is just a notation for Bangkok. So the first thing we need to do is we use natural language processing to convert that keyword into something everybody can understand, which is Hotel Lebua Bangkok in this case. Once we understand what they are trying to do, now we can look inside our destination database and find the right match for what they are looking for. In this case, the Lebua at State Tower, Bangkok Riverside, Bangkok is the right answer, and we can put in the right ad. Now, again, this case might be quite simple, but think about a hotel. There's a hotel in Bangkok that is called Paris in Bangkok. Now, if somebody is looking for Paris Hotel Bangkok, how do we know he's not looking for a hotel in Paris? He's actually looking for a hotel in Bangkok that is called Paris in Hotel Bangkok. So this is where the machine learning and the AI steps in to find all these right ways to understand the intent of the customer. Now, the most interesting problem of marketing is that you actually need to decide how much you want to pay for it. After you designed your ad and everything, you've done this hundreds of millions of times for every possible query. The question is, how much are you willing to pay for it? Now, most search engines are basically auctions. Let's see, for example, this search of a cleaning service, Bangkok, you get free ads. Basically, the higher you are, the more you're going to pay for the click. So it's not accurate because Google is a bit more complicated than that, but directionally, you can say that if you want to get upper in the list of ads, you need to pay more. That's pretty basic. So you can summarize that the more you pay, the more clicks you're going to get because you're going to be more visible for the customer, but also at the same time, the cost that you are going to pay for that click is going to be higher. So what is the best position for yourself that you want to get a lot of customers coming in? You want to sell bookings, but at the same time, you don't want to spend too much money on getting them in on those clicks. So basically, if you look at it, when you start to increase your cost, as your cost increases, initially, your profit goes up because you're getting the traffic, you're getting the people, they go to the website, they make a booking. So even though you pay for the clicks, you still make a profit. But if you start to increase your cost, you start to bid higher and higher, you go more and more high in the list, at some point, you're going to pay so much for the clicks that your profit is going to go down. You will still make more bookings, but those added bookings are not going to be worth it considering how much you have to pay for each individual click. So you want to be in this point there at the top where you're making your maximum profit. And the problem is that you have to do this for each possible individual search query. And as you saw before, we make an ad for everything you can think of. It's not just Bangkok or hotel or chip. It's every possible combination of every destination, every property in the world. So we actually generate every day 1.5 billion different bids that we calculate every day on 18 different platforms, and we use 14 different algorithms that we mash together to decide how much to bid on these keywords. Not to mention that we actually use AI also to generate the ads themselves, making 1.5 million ads every day. So we talked a bit about the marketing part. Let's talk a little about what happens once we finally get the customer to come into our website and we want to get them to search and book on the website. So why am I talking about AI for searching and booking? What is the problem that we are trying to solve? So this graph shows you the number of properties that we had on Agoda to sell in the last 10 years, starting 2008. And the growth here is 100x. This is a 10,000% growth in the number of properties that we can sell on Agoda's platform. Think about the amount of options for our customers just 10 years ago and today going 100 times larger. And at the same time, there's actually much more than that, because not only we have more properties, we have so much more information about those properties, about each and every individual room. In the hotel, we can tell you the size of the room and show you photos. And is it pet friendly? Is it family friendly? What are the attractions that are nearby? There are so many pieces of data that we have, which is great, because we can make sure our customer get the best experience and exactly what they want. But at the same time, this insane amount of data can easily lead to information overload. So instead of getting a good experience where you know what you're getting and you feel very confident, you actually feel like, this is too much. I don't know, should I look at this, should I look at that, and so forth, and eventually very frustrated and very stressful experience. And this is where AI can come in and help the customer. Because eventually the customers don't need every possible piece of data, only the pieces of data that are important to them. And this is where we can use AI. So for example, if you look at our search page today, which is not a great screenshot, but if you look here, you see that this image, for example, is actually chosen for the customer. We don't show the same picture for everyone. We chose the one that I think is more relevant for the current customer. At the same way, the way we rank the hotels keeps changing based on the customer activity, and I'll show a bit more about that. We show other destinations, again, we choose them according to what we think is relevant for you right now. We even personalize the picture when you go into the property page, when you look at a specific hotel. We choose reviews that we think are interesting for you, and we cut out the piece that is most interesting. For example, if you're a business traveler, you're probably more interested from a review of a business traveler than a couple on a honeymoon because you're looking for different things. We also can highlight specific information that we think is relevant for you. For example, if you're a domestic traveler, you probably don't care about currency exchange. You use this currency all day long. But if you're coming from international, then you do want to know if this hotel has a currency exchange maybe. We can also take offers that are very similar and group them together to show you the differences of the things you can choose. And lastly, we can show you recommendations of other hotels, other properties that are similar, and we also think are relevant for you based on what you've done so far. So to go a little about how this thing works, this is a very complicated system that is based on deep learning. But to just explain the basics of how it works, the idea is that as you go through the website, we actually get hints, we get cues from you on our website of what you are looking for without explicitly asking for them. For example, let's say you click the Rembrandt Hotel, Suits and Towers. Then we see, oh, okay, that's a city center location. Maybe you're interested in city center. And then you click the Solitaire Bangkok, Sukhumvit 11, which is also city center, but is also quite new and has a high service score. And then 11 Hotel Bangkok, also new, very clean hotel. And lastly, we have the Novotel Bangkok Sukhumvit 4, which is newly built also, 2018, and high review for a couple. So we got all these cues, and again, this doesn't run from some manual kind of laws or whatever, or a rule engine. This is actually going into an AI machine that tries to predict what this customer is looking for, and might say, yeah, clearly looking for city center, or okay, he's looking for a newly built hotel. But the machine knows what cues are strong, what cues are not that interesting. Everybody starts to look at very expensive hotel, very new hotels, and then maybe they don't book them. So the machine has the intelligence learning from all historical visits on how to use this information best. And what I want to say about this whole area of personalization and AI in the app, that I think this is the place that we are just starting out. I think a lot of companies like Agoda start to go this direction, but there's so much more we can do. Just 2 months ago, I had a friend that wanted to come to Thailand, and they asked me, where should I stay? What should I do? And I told them, well, you know, I've known you for a long time. You should definitely take this hotel. You should definitely check out this place and this other place. And that was so easy for my friend. They just asked me and I told them. And because they trusted me, they didn't have to get all the possible information out there. They didn't have to get all the possible information even that I have, because I already gave him the information that he cares about. Now, if we want to take this experience, but without having me, but have actually Agoda and company like Agoda give you a similar experience, I think there's much more we can do, and there's a long road in which we are heading. The one thing we need to be careful is not to be annoying, right? One thing that can be annoying if you come to a shop and the shop seller keeps coming asking, oh, do you need help here? Do you need help here? So really the challenge for us is how to learn what the customer wants without being too obtrusive, without jumping on you with questions. So I think this is one of the big challenges we still have. Let's talk about the last piece I have here, which is the post-booking. So you made the booking, great. There's 2 things you might want. First of all, you might want to talk to Agoda support, maybe something simple like getting a booking confirmation, maybe something more complicated, maybe you have some issue with the hotels, could be anything. One of the things we do today is we listen on the chat to see if there's a simple request that we can actually help you immediately. For example, getting you a booking confirmation. And when we see that, we can just pop up, hey, you're looking for a booking confirmation, let me send it to you directly. Don't need to waste human time, the agent time, don't need to waste on this when they can help customers that have more complicated problems. At the same time, you might have questions about the property. For example, if we have parking available. And as I mentioned, we have lots and lots of information about the property, but there's no way we can just push all this information back into the customer. So by having this other interface where they can actually ask a question and we can say, hey, you know what? We know the answer to this question. It actually has parking on the premise. You can still we can send the question to the hotel, but our databases, we already know the answer. So how do we do these things very simplicity without going into the details too much? Basically, we get these requests, and they can come in all the languages that we work. And one of the biggest challenges we have is that we work in languages that are not as developed in terms of the technology. If you want to translate Chinese to English, there's many ways to do it, and they are very advanced. If we're talking about Korean or Thai, it's much more complicated. Secondly, once we get the text into English, we want to cut out the pieces that are actually important. We want to understand what is the real request. Again, we just want to understand the intent of the customer. And in this case, they want the receipt. And then once we have that, we can see if we have a solution and suggest that solution. And again, it might sound a bit generic. Okay, you're reading text. That's what AI does, no? But actually, we had to build our own models, our own technology to do this. Because what we find out is that when you actually use your own data, your own chats, to train the models to know what people are looking for, you will find that even in a language that has been already researched, because the people, when they talk to support, they don't use the same exact language when they talk to one another. There is a special way in which people talk to a support, which is not exactly the same. It's not exactly the same language they might use when talking in a normal conversation or just an email. And by using our own data, we can provide much better accuracy for what people are actually looking for. And one point I want to touch, because it comes up, is that there's always this concern, okay, so we're replacing the humans with the robots, oh my God, I won't have a job, blah, blah, blah. Our goal is not to replace the humans with robots. Our goal is to get the humans to do the humans' work, okay? So if you are in travel could be stressful. It could be a real problem. If you're in some foreign country, you don't know the language, the hotel doesn't understand what you want, you need someone to talk to. We want you to have a human on the other side of the line that you can say, hey, this is my problem, this is what the hotel is saying, can you help me, can you not help me? Sounds like fun over there. So we want the humans to be available for that. And for that reason, we want to take away the work that is purely click, 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 do nothing. And this is what we're trying to achieve with these kind of efforts. So that's about it. But actually, no. We have much more on our AI projects. For example, we have anomaly detection, which is one thing we use to actually find problems in real time in the platform. Now, Agoda business is quite big. And we have our supply, we have our hotels, we have the browsers, we have the mobile devices that people use. Let's say that starting today, there is some problem of Agoda website to work on a very specific browser that only 0.1% of the population uses. How could we ever see something like that if we just look at the overall trend of bookings? What our anomaly detection does is it breaks down all the production of Agoda by each individual dimension and looking for something that might have been broken. And by doing that in real time and alerting to us, we catch these small leaks of business and make sure we fix it and give a great experience for all our users. The second thing that I want to mention is our experiment platform. Actually, in Agoda today, at any point in time, we run around 1,000 experiments in parallel. Every change we make in the website is running through an A/B test. And we use AI to decide if this change is good for the customer or not so good for the customer. And actually, there's much, much more than that within our AI projects. And I mentioned a few of these, but even areas like fraud and account protection, even optimization for supply. All of these, we use AI today. So I want to talk just a little about how we do it, how we are able to utilize AI in so many different places. So first of all, what we started to do around 6 years ago is build a data platform. And this piece of technology is very much helping us to achieve this vision. It's a mixture of highly scale. Today we process more than 1.5 trillion messages every day on this platform. Secondly, it has a strong self-service feature to it. So actually, any team in Agoda can work independently, do their own science, do their own work, and build their own AI-driven applications using our platform. And lastly, even though it's self-service, we make it trustworthy, meaning we make sure the data is high quality, the data is correct. And by mixing these things together, we are able to have so much innovation in AI. And of course, we do have the technology. We have using all these great products and technologies. But if some of you are familiar with these, and this is just a short list, actually all of them are free. None of this cost us any money. These are all open source projects. So what is the real asset that we have in Agoda? It's the people, right? And we are very lucky to be working here in Thailand. We found amazing talent, young people that are so committed, so excited, and extremely intelligent, trying, to learn new things, new technology, and do these kind of projects. And by combining them with people that we bring from outside, by relocating people into Thailand to work hand in hand, we saw amazing success by growing everybody up and actually building the community. And what we started to do even 3 years ago is kind of like export this knowledge and understanding outside of the company. And we have been running a Tech at Agoda for 3 years now. We have more than 2,000 members. Everybody can join. It's all free. You get even lunch. The whole point is to help grow the community, help build up the technological community. And I've been here for almost 6 years now. And it's just been amazing to see the change that Thailand is going through from growing up from a technological perspective and becoming a real technological powerhouse in the world. So with that, I want to end up with just 2 words. Thank you.